Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate your coming to this very important press briefing. We are going to have one such press briefing, I think sometime later, tomorrow or the day after, but this is a very important briefing, especially in the context of our expression of sincere heart condolences to the families and relatives of those who lost their lives in circumstances that were beyond their own control. You are aware of the military operation which was unnecessary. As you may know, Zimbabwe is not a police state, neither is it a military state, but we did see a lot of our armed soldiers targeting unarmed civilians, unprovoked, without any justification for doing so. The brutal force that was used on unarmed civilians is something that is unacceptable and deplorable, and there is no justification whatsoever. Even if you say that the citizens had done whatever they did, there was no reason for the kind of violence that we saw. The demonstrations were not actually being carried out by the MDC. They were not MDC Alliance demonstrations. They were citizen action, and we have no control whatsoever on all the other citizens because they are independent in whatever they do. But what is shocking for us is for Mr. Mnangagwa and his colleagues in ZANU-PF to try and apportion blame. This is not the time to apportion blame. This is the time to honor. The people who fired onto these civilians were not MDC Alliance. The soldiers who did what is unlawful and what is against all human rights dictates did this without the authority from the MDC. The MDC does not, we do not have the command of our military elements. So clearly, we want government to take this matter into its logical conclusion by making sure that they investigate on who gave the authority for soldiers to do what they did. And those who killed people, what is going to happen to them? Because that is the normal realm of people in the law and order through the police and not the army. So we want to take this upon Mr. Mnangagwa. He has said that this thing has to be accounted for by the MDC. We are saying that we have a government in this country, and that government has to account for the kind of excesses that we encountered yesterday. In fact, this kind of violence is a state-sponsored violence we have seen over the years, buffeting and affecting our country, and this is why we want this issue to be dealt with. I had the occasion this afternoon to visit all the victims at the various hospitals, and also to meet with the members of the deceased, their family members. They told me very, very weird stories. In fact, none of them is actually a member of the MDC Alliance. These are ordinary citizens who are actually doing their own venting, some were even just doing their own things in town, who became victims. And that says a lot about the kind of stubbornness that we have in this country. So yes, that's the first issue. The second issue is to do with the issue of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, which has undermined its own independence and transparency and even credibility in terms of the delays that are necessary in releasing the results. One wonders why ZEC has failed to release the results of the presidential election, especially in the context that they knew the result by Monday night. They actually knew the result, because when you are counting results at a polling station, you start by counting the results of the presidential candidates. So they got the results of the presidential candidates at constituency level across the whole country. And we know those results by now. So, you know, announcing is just a formality. We know the results, and we have the confidence that if the result is confirmed, we are in a good position to proceed to celebration. And we've said this because this is known by people, and we've not gone to announce the result because we know that announcing a result is illegal and unlawful. And we don't want to do things that actually tear apart the law. We've been patient, because patience is our virtue, not violence. We have never been violent in our approach. We believe in patience, and this is what we're trying to pursue, and this is what we're trying to deal with. So we are, again, happy to say that we engaged ZEC this afternoon on the delays, and we have also raised concerns because they have a server. On this, they've corrected authentic results, but they've gone on to create another extra platform, an Excel platform, where it is easy to manipulate figures. And we understand that they want to manipulate figures, so we say to our team, don't be part of the Excel platform, because they already have the figures through radio and police communication, through the V11 forms, V23 forms, and V24 forms. So the outcome is there. And we accepted the parliamentary election, even with all its weaknesses, with all its imperfections. They must also accept the presidential election, rather than to seek and manipulate that result, as we know from our intelligence they are trying to do, so that they try to give ED an edge, either of a runoff or to say that he has slightly gone ahead of us. But it's clear that in all the results across the whole country, where ED Mnangagwa was not winning, his candidate would win, ZANU-PF. So that's why there is a parliamentary majority of ZANU-PF, particularly in the rural areas. But there are areas where, in the rural areas, our MDC Alliance MP candidates would not win, but would win resoundingly. And in winning resoundingly would not leave ED Mnangagwa, would also defeat him resoundingly. So those results are clear. They give us a popular vote. Which popular vote, we have no doubt, has to be confirmed by ZEC, but we wait for the results to be announced by ZEC, but we've taken them to task on these issues. In fact, our team of legal experts this afternoon had a stalemate with ZEC, because ZEC did not want to have us have access to the server so that we can audit the trail of the votes. They said that they don't have a server, so we've written to them to say, but you are saying you don't have a server. Here is the server. This is where it is, because we used GPS to locate that server. So they were dithering, and they are still dithering about it. Why they want an Excel? An Excel does not have an audit trail. In Excel, somebody can just punch figures, and those figures can just be changed at any time, because it's just a matter of punching figures. So we've said, look, that Excel platform is not an authentic platform. Let's go to the server, let's go to the V11 forms, and let's also go to the returns that we have, because we also have our own returns. At the constituents level, where we do the tallying, there's an MP candidate, there's an agent. Both of them have results. So we have a national tally for the whole country. And we are saying we need to then compare to see the validity and genuineness or even authenticity of your result before we go on to announce. But it would appear that there's a lot that is taking place. We are obviously going to engage more ZEC to make sure that there is a credible outcome in terms of the presidential election. Thank you very much.
Independent in London. So Chamisa, you have criticized the electoral process before. Now, ZEC said that they're going to announce the result of the presidential election tonight, starting from 10 o'clock. Now, if ZEC awards the presidency to Mr. Mnangagwa in the first round, what will you do? And secondly, what do you think the reactions on the street are going to be? And can I ask a supplementary, possibly, which is about the shootings yesterday, and you said those who had ordered it should be brought to account. Now, say, hypothetically, Mr. Chamisa, that was whatever the vice president. Do you want him to be charged with what
It's not about the hierarchy, it's not about the authority of the individual. It's about the culpability in a criminal matter, in a human rights abuse, in a humanitarian issue. So we want this matter to be sorted out. In fact, President Mnangagwa must be able to tell the public who issued the instruction to fire live bullets on innocent citizens. Because this is a serious issue. You are having an army being unleashed onto civilians. What are you doing? It's not just a provocation. It's actually a serious offense, which shows that this government does not care about life. For us, the sanctity of human life is the first priority. You can't take away life. No matter how great you are as a soldier, no matter how senior you are as a politician, no single life is worth shedding blood for. No politician is ever valuable to be preserved by the blood of innocent civilians. We can't.
And the first part, Mr. Chamisa, about the election results tonight.
Clearly, if the result is not agreeing with the will of the people, it will be rejected. And once it has been rejected, that is a very clear thing. We cannot accept a result that has been manipulated, a result that has been fried, a result that has been, massaged against the will of the people. People know what they voted for. And they definitely did not vote for Idi Mnangagwa in this election. And people know that. So it will be rejected, and once it has been rejected, we are the Zimbabweans. Legitimacy does not come from theft or deception. Legitimacy comes from observing what the people have voted for. And this is why we have said to ZEC, be credible, be kind enough, live to your word. If you are saying that we need credible, free and fair elections, let them be credible, free and fair by being inclusive, accountable, and being transparent. At this juncture, there is no transparency. So I hope I have answered you.
You have indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
David Pilling, Financial Times. Do you accept that the results of the parliamentary elections are accurate? If you know the results of the presidential poll, can you tell us in percentage terms? And if you've won, do you really expect the armed forces to allow that to stand, given the events that we saw yesterday? Sorry, that's 3 in 1, but they're all very tightly related.
Well, quite a loaded one. Thank you very much. I don't know where to start. But this election is not about the military or the army. It's about the people of Zimbabwe and their will. And that will has to be respected. So, in terms of the parliamentary election, yes, we have looked at certain constituencies where we know that there's been elements of electoral manipulation. Those are going to be on a case-by-case basis. We've had more people voting than people who are actually registered on the voters roll. And the beauty is that every polling station is supposed to have a maximum of 1,000. But you have had where you have a maximum of even 1,500. And it's empirical. One wonders where that is coming from. So we also want to investigate all those areas. But there is quite a significant portion of electoral theft and manipulation, particularly in the rural areas. The abuse of food as a political weapon, command elections where people were commandeered into voting for ZANU-PF, or else they lose their freedom, or else they lose their happiness, or else they lose their life. That is all evident, and it has been captured in some of the Observer Mission reports. So I'm sure I've answered. What was the third one?
If you know the results of the presidential election in percentage terms, can you share them with us?
Well, the only tragedy is that if I were to do that, I would be, falling foul of the law, because I would be announcing a result.
Unofficially?
So I can see the persuasion. You want me to break the law?
No, I would never do that.
Thank you very much. But we do have the percentage, and we are confident of that percentage. And that percentage, we are ready to then validate the outcome to be given by ZEC. But there is no way from the tally that we've done, ED would have more votes than NC. It's not possible. From just a cursory analysis, any other thing that would bring ED ahead of NC is just outright fiction, which would have problems, to be accepted. Even if I want to be magnanimous, magnanimity has limits. You can't be magnanimous in deception. It's wrong. Because I'll be cheating the people who voted. It has its own limits.
Mr. Chamisa, I hear from France 24. I have two questions for you. The one, you say, if the results do not reflect the will of the people,
Sure.
it will be rejected.
Sure.
What do you mean by rejected? Will you go to court? The second question is, according to President Mnangagwa's Twitter account, he met with you to discuss what happened yesterday. Did that meeting take place? And did you by any chance discuss forming a government of national unity?
Oh. That's so bizarre and shocking. It's not good for me to invalidate I will respond to Mr. Mnangagwa's tweet, but I did not meet Mr. Mnangagwa. I have not met him. I've sought to meet him 6 times. He has been unwilling and unavailable, even out of just courtesy, for us to build the country going forward. I suppose that is just doing it for his own PR, but it is something that is deficient in veracity. I don't know if he met my shadow. I'm here to consult, but he did not meet with me. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, I'm quoting between, I don't want to embarrass my colleague, but he did not meet with me. If he said he met with me, he did not. I was tempted to respond via Twitter, but I said, look, let me be the bigger man in the room. We can't all be boys. So yeah, we did not meet. I respect him, and I hope that he respects also my space by not alleging things that did not happen. What happened, though, is that the Minister of Police, Minister Obed Mpofu, rang me in the afternoon to say there is violence in the city. Can you restrain your people? Because we are being provoked as ZANU-PF. I said, look, why are you confrontational and condescending? Which people do I have? He says there are people who are demonstrating. I said, so who told you that every person who demonstrates belongs to me? He says, no, they were chanting your name. I said, but chanting my name does not mean anything. So with that kind of a conversation, he says, yeah, there are people who are demonstrating. I said, look, I'm not in town, but I will check who is demonstrating. If they are our people, we'll try to restrain them. But we don't have demonstrations that are not sanctioned. We always inform the police. Maybe they're just civilians or citizens said, no, please, talk to them and manage. We work together in the inclusive government. That was the context of the discussion. At no point did we talk about a GNU. At no point did we talk about Mr. Mnangagwa having sent him. It was him, out of courtesy, checking with me, and I gave him my response. He actually said that Minister Chiwenga wanted to have a chat with me. And I said, look, what are we talking about? Because I'm told that the army has been deployed. So he must withdraw the army first, instead of talking to me about things that I do not know about when the army... That was the context of the discussion. Nothing more, nothing less. So this whole talk about the GNU is nowhere near. You said, what are you pursuing?
The first question was, if the results do not reflect the will of the people, it will be rejected. What do you mean by that?
Exactly what I'm saying. When I reject it, is that it's as simple as that?
Will the matter go to court then?
Well, look, the court is just a route. But for us, it's a very slippery route because of our circumstances, our historical issues. When you go into the court, you're just walking into the lion's den. But we are not about to be a meal for lions. So we are very circumspect in the route that we are going to take.
The first question is, let's talk about the results that we have already, the parliamentary ones. People that have said that the way the party managed Dr. Thokozani Kupe has cost the party quite a number of seats.
When?
In certain constituencies where her numbers and MDC alliance numbers would have made a difference. That's what being said. It doesn't necessarily mean it's being true.
Kupe would at most get 5 votes, 3 votes. And
No, the parliamentary. It's the parliamentary.
Yes,
not
in the parliamentary. She would get 1.
Okay.
And she did very well. We must congratulate her.
Right. The second quick one is that the agents are currently sitting with ZEC. Are your agents under instruction that no result can be announced if they disagree with it? Because
in fact, that's what we have said, Tamu. But what is clear is that ZEC are taking instructions from elsewhere. And they think that these people who are giving them instructions are more important than us, the stakeholders, which is the same arrogance we have seen from ZEC. But you see, announcing and declaring a result does not mean that this is the will of the people. The will of the people is much more than just an announcement and a declaration.
The V11 forms, do you have them for every polling station in the country? Is that the basis for your national tally? And secondly, have you had any international pressure to meet with the government or to submit that evidence today?
Well, I didn't get your second question.
International pressure from observers or anyone else to submit evidence or meet with the government to discuss the elections?
Well, you know, the observers have limited scope because they are not monitors, so they can only do so much. But we've raised these issues with the observers. In fact, I was just meeting with Chamisa, with the AU just now, and I gave them that kind of information in terms of our disagreement with ZEC on the tallies. We do have our V11 forms. We do have our alternative tally per constituents, per ward, and per polling station. And it's very clear. It's known. In fact, even if we didn't have as a party, for argument's sake, all the citizens across the whole country do have those results. They are all over. So you can't change those results simply because you have a name and you have an authority as chair of the commission. So our simple request to ZEC, respect the people, be professional, show your integrity, don't show your open hand of bias, announce the proper result as the votes indicate. That is our request.
I wanted to ask, will you have another press conference after the results have been announced tonight?
No, maybe tonight we want you to sleep. I know that it's good for you to rest, but we'll definitely have another press conference giving a way forward and our trajectory. If the result is proper, we'll be giving our perspective. If there is tomfoolery, again, we'll be showing the nation the direction to take from our own perspective.
What do you mean by proper? As if it doesn't go in your direction?
No. Proper is to indicate what is on the V11 forms and what is collected across the constituency.
Thank you.
And if that were to happen, it would confirm what we are telling you.
Yes, please.
Hi, Deborah Steinhauser from the Wall Street Journal. 2 questions. Do you have a comment on the raid that took place at your office today, where computers were seized and apparently some officials were arrested? And then second question, given that the ZANU-PF won 2/3 of the seats in Parliament, assuming you are indeed the winner of the presidential election, how do you plan to govern with no majority in Parliament? Would you then, in that case, be open to form a power-sharing agreement with ZANU-PF so you can actually govern and bring the change that many Zimbabweans are hoping for?
Thank you, Gabriel. The first one, very sad event indeed. But what it confirms is that the leopard does not and has not changed its skin. The same system of ZANU-PF yesterday under Mugabe is the same system of ZANU-PF today under Mnangagwa. You will see that the kind of heavy-handedness, trying to weaken, persecute the opposition, is what they do. It's justified to do certain things when there has been commission of an offense. But there's no offense. These are people who are in the office, technical people who are doing their work. Why do you raid our offices? And why do you take our computers? They thought that they were going to get the tallies. But we changed. We actually safe house for that because we knew that they were going to do that. We anticipated, you can easily read them. You can almost dictate their pattern. Honestly, if ZANU-PF have won this election, why is it that across the whole country there's no celebration or jubilation? What kind of a celebration or victory is it that when you win, people have to go into a pause mode and a silent mode? Not only that, you send tanks, you send guns, you send bullets to citizens who have voted for you. Can't you see that is a contradiction in terms? Why do you kill people who have voted for you? Why do you kill people who love you or whom you love? It tells you a big story about the manipulation of the vote. Even in the rural areas, the parliamentary majority is fictitious. I can tell you this, it's all manufactured because they have almost an all-pervasive control of the electoral process. compounded by being in bed with ZEC to manipulate the will of the people, particularly in the rural areas. So you must understand, when I say, yes, we removed Mugabe, but not Mugabe easy. Yes, Mugabe is gone, but his system is intact. In fact, it has perfected its art. The danger with this Mnangagwa is that Mnangagwa tells you love, but gives you hate. Mnangagwa walks light, but he talks light, but walks darkness. That's the problem. Deception. You give you a ruse to say Zimbabwe is open for business, when he knows that what he wants is to open Zimbabwe for looting. Those are the issues. And you must know the inconsistency. That's why the leopard has not changed its skin and spots. The second one.
Yeah, how will you govern if you're indeed the...
Very well. Governing does not need parliament. I will govern very well.
Government does not need parliament.
No, does not need a majority in parliament.
Don't you want to change laws? Don't you want to...
When you want to then
pass
change
a message?
legislation, you then have to go into some parts to make sure that certain legislation passes.
So you would not do any power sharing if you were the president?
You would do idea sharing. Thank you.
There are journalists who've just come in here. Anybody has a question on this side? No? Okay.
I'm Maggie from Bastop TV News.
Yes, Mark.
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, when violence erupted yesterday,
Sure.
where were you? And also, why didn't you come and try and tell the people to stop? I know you said they were not your people,
Yes.
but I'm sure they would have listened to you.
Well, I was very far away. I know you would want to know where I was, Maggie. But I think for some other time, I will tell you. But I was not around. And actually, I received the call when I was out of town. And I just had to respond. I tried to then check who was on the ground. But clearly, it was not an MDC program. You know, I checked with the organizing secretary here present. I checked with the youth leadership. It was not an MDC organized program. Because when we are organizing programs, we don't do it Nicodemus or surreptitious. We give due notice, and we don't use violence. We use peace. We have demonstrated before. We've done it before. We don't believe in violence. Violence is not part of our DNA. But if you check the DNA of ZANU-PF, violence is part of their national anthem. It's their art. They believe that violence is a way and a tool of dealing with issues. Why would you open fire on innocent civilians? Who opened that fire? Who gave that instruction? Who is the commander-in-chief? Why was that allowed? Has that person been arrested? What are they doing to account for the loss of life? The sanctity and dignity of humanity and human life is so important.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to have more time with journalists today because I felt that I had not given enough time, but thank you very much. You know, you are great, you have been wonderful in your reporting. I want to thank you very, very much. We've appreciated your reporting. You know, we wish we could have all of you here in Zimbabwe all the way through. I think Zimbabwe will be a better country. Thank you very much.
Zimbabwe yose kana toyambuka choja isuti zofamba